Discourse 18. March 6, 1938, Cleveland, Ohio. Beloved students, in all that is being accomplished and yet to be done, we thank you with the power of light for your assistance, your stand with the light to make the call which humanity needs. I know it is not easy for you to realize, not seeing from the inner activity of the law, just all required and the need of your great assistance. We, from the octaves of light and freedom, long so much when the opportunity is so great, to release mankind from all human accumulation and all which has bound them. As many of you have come to know, it has been my great privilege to assist many students in dissolving and consuming the last particle of their own human accumulation. Do you realize, beloved ones, just what that means? When Beloved Saint Germain has told you repeatedly, the pressure of your own human creation, before any of it was dissolved, was 10 times that of the atmospheric pressure of Earth, then you must understand what it means to be released from such pressure of your own human creation. You have often felt in your outer general experience, sometimes a buoyancy and lightness, then again a tremendous pressure as though you were being dragged down. It is because in the moments of the feeling of lightness in your feeling world, not through your attention, but through your feeling, a radiance has come, a release of which you are outwardly unaware. Yet it is sufficient to really lift you or momentarily repel your own human creation and its pressure. Today, I rejoice during this class, for many of you here, it will be my privilege to dissolve and consume the remainder of your own human creation. I know quite well how earnestly many of you have been working and making that call. Will you try to feel with me just for a few moments how vital and important your call is? The mass of mankind does not understand. The people are unable to make the call, because until one knows this great presence of all life, the mighty I Am, the power in your calls is but slight, in comparison to what it means, when you know your own source of life, the mighty I Am. Today, it devolves upon the students of America, until more join them which is coming so rapidly, to make this call with such earnestness, not with any stress or strain, but with just such earnestness and determination that it gives us the opportunity to do all we require. Let me explain something again today, because it is not understood generally, even among the students. I am going to try to clear this in your minds, for once it is clear, you will find an inner change in your experience. When you decree, when you make the call to your mighty I Am presence and the ascended masters, the legion of light and the cosmic beings, you are releasing substance from within your feeling world and your physical body. Now notice this particularly, from your physical body. This substance is the requirement which we need, in order to release and then amplify it, with the great purity and perfection of the substance of life, to bring about the changes which are being made. The progress, the advancement so far, has been beyond our fondest hopes. Mankind has responded in the most wonderful manner, and I congratulate you here and the students everywhere, upon your ability to release this energy and substance which we require. Today, beloved ones, 60% of the victory of the light has already been attained and we hope to make it much more here. By the time we have reached New York, we hope for an achievement which will lift every I Am student in America and the world into the glory of their eternal victory. It does not only mean your individual freedom, but the accumulation of mankind of the centuries must be dissolved and consumed completely, for whatever is to be done in the future. Without this consuming, mankind is constantly interfered with, interrupted at the most vital moments. Then, disappointment besets individuals, sometimes delaying the expansion of their light indefinitely. So today, we want you to become so anchored that not a single thing in the appearance world will interrupt nor interfere with all which is to be done individually and for America. I quite realize, sometimes, even among the students, individuals wonder why we keep stressing the need of America. Well, dear ones, if America is not protected, you will have no place to call your home. Do you not see how important this is? Suppose something destroyed your physical home and you were unable to prevent it, temporarily you would be housed somewhere, would you not? So it is in America today. America is the last spot on earth where our perfection can come forth. It is vital for all the students to realize this, because it will enable them to release the power for the protection of America. Then, as their own individual life streams become cleansed, purified, and set into divine order, in the perfection, in action, which the presence is and holds for them, they will find the glory of its dominion sustained. In all you hold dear for your loved ones, for America and the glory of all which is yet to follow, you will find its infinite power of action ever increasing, intensifying and spreading everywhere into the world to do its perfect work. Here is an illustration which will possibly help you to feel more clearly the glory of that which is not only the activity in your call from the presence, but the assistance we give. Suppose before you, who are sitting here today, there were a great light like a great sun, and from it came streams of light and energy to each one of you. This is actually what is taking place. It means that in cooperation with your call to your presence and the cosmic beings, those great beings of light are constantly giving you assistance of which the outer does not even dream. As you become aware of this and begin to feel it earnestly within your being, oh how great will be the change, first, in your feeling world and then in the outer activity. When you begin to see, shall we call it, the natural harmonizing activity of your world of action, all that goes forth is a radiation from your presence, amplified many times by the ascended ones and producing this condition of harmony which is required first, because without it, beloved ones, you cannot have the full blessing and benefit which is being released. One thing may explain to some of you the inner activities. As you are calling forth this great light, this great substance, intelligence or energy, it is light substance which you are really calling forth. It comes into your world of action, it brings a release into your world, which the human cannot possibly comprehend at this time. As you become more acquainted with the presence, know that to still yourself is the means of letting its power come forth. Then its very vibratory action, as it flows out into your world, will quiet and harmonize your entire being still more. At this point many came into the room, wait just a few moments, until the movement in the room is stilled. I cannot give you the release which I wish to give, until it is quieted down. Pause, beloved ones, in order to do the work which we desire, it is imperative to have no one move about in the room, for it constantly changes the current of energy and the blessing with which we wish to help you. It is not easy for the outer to understand, but we must have it, if we are to give the blessing we intend. So I thank you very kindly for that quiet now. Your life stream, as you call forth this greater release of the energy required to cleanse, purify, and harmonize your world, is the one great substance, which is light. We are endeavoring so earnestly to have all realize, in your call for this light, which is released from your presence or from the ascended masters, is the activity required. Of course it is always first from your presence, then amplified by the ascended masters, but that substance of light is one and the same. The ascended masters, as they stand in their purity and perfection today, are one with the purity and perfection of the I Am presence, of you who are yet unascended. Notice why the assistance of the ascended master is so important at this time. Do not misunderstand me. All from the ascended master's octave is of course perfection, but in order to try to convey to you these octaves or steps, the ascended masters is the first step beyond the human. Our ascended master octave is wholly perfect. To help give you the idea, we would place the Legion of Light next. Then would come the cosmic beings, if you wish to look at this activity as steps. This is why mankind has not understood the need of the assistance of the ascended masters. They are the consciousness, the feeling all mankind requires today, in its perfecting activity. Without the assistance of the ascended masters, beloved ones, I tell you frankly there would not be 3% of the people today, who would have the strength to stand up under their own creations, and that of the mass of mankind to free themselves. Therefore, they must have more than their own assistance. That is why beloved Saint Germain brought forth this amazing understanding of the law of your own life. Will you understand today, that we as ascended beings or cosmic beings, are just your own life more advanced, higher in its rate of vibratory action, than you experience here in the physical octave? Notice the chart. It is the stream of life and energy anchored within your physical heart which gives you life. That life is the one life of the whole universe. For your greater understanding, your mighty I Am presence, which is the individualized presence of life, is the image and likeness of God, as you previously understood. It is the focus of your individual activity. It has been necessary for mankind to understand the individual focus is there above everyone, and will be sustained in any activity, upon which the attention might be focused. Without it no one, not even you in your own lives, have been able to sustain a constructive activity continuously. Constant change of attention causes the change of the currents of energy. You wonder why sometimes things move rapidly and then a lull occurs in the activity in your own life. Simply because you have not known your I am presence. Now that you do know it and you will call to have all your application sustained, you will find a steady advancement, a steady climbing, and in many instances, just as though you were climbing a steep mountain. It is a very good simile of what is actually taking place in the vibratory action of your world, as you turn your attention and hold it upon your presence. Only as you turn your attention to your presence can you rise above discord. I now convey to you the importance of concentration. I mean by that, the holding of your attention upon the goal which you wish to attain. If it be in the business world, your attention held definitely upon the goal releases the power and energy in your own life. It is the only thing that can act for you. Another's life stream cannot enter into yours, only by the power of radiation to give temporary assistance. Therefore, as your own attention is held upon the goal, your power of light from your presence is feeding into it. The more intensified your feeling and determination, the greater is the release of the power to produce perfection in the achievement you require. This is the power of concentration and the only means by which it can be sustained. Whether it be your freedom, your ascension, or your business activity, matters not, the same law is acting. So many are calling for their financial freedom. They think so earnestly it is going to be helpful. Well, do not be disappointed, but let me try to clear this for you. If you will give sufficient earnest attention to your presence, as your treasure house from which all must come, you will find outer conditions will harmonize, and come into harmonious accord with that which will bring you the money supply you require. It is the only permanent means of doing it. If you try with the forces of the outer world to accomplish what you desire, you may attain a certain amount of success, but there is no assurance of its permanency. You see that manifest everywhere about you. The individual who will turn to his or her great presence wholly, accept it constantly as that one's treasure house, from which all money supply and everything else must come, all other supply, will have set into action the greatest law in the universe. It will be permanently sustained, and there is no human element which can change or destroy it. That is the point I want to have you understand at this time in the world's activity, because the outer world is in the most unstable condition which you can possibly imagine. So do not depend upon the stability of your outer world, which is governed largely yet in your commercial activity, by the whims of humankind. I do not mean there are not many honest, sincere individuals, for there are, but they are in the minority. The great majority of mankind, feeling tremendous pressure, feel justified in using the subterfuge of human means to supply themselves. Today, I shall acquaint you with the conditions which exist in Europe and the world. Mankind over the entire world is feeling this pressure. With a great number of the people, it is acting as a sense of fear, and their fear comes from their desire for supply. I plead with you, all of you earnest, sincere, I am students, erase that from your feeling world, by the call to your presence. Do not let the fear of your supply enter into your feeling world. If you do, you build it up and make it most difficult for us to give you the assistance, which will bring you constant financial supply. We know quite as well as you do the need of it today, so long as it is the means of your exchange, but there are perhaps 12 individuals in the world, today, who have millions at their command, whose fear is the greatest you ever witnessed. It seems incredible, but I tell you it is true, and that is what has brought this tremendous pressure upon mankind, from the financial standpoint and in the industrial world. They are trying to concentrate and gather all within their own control. I ask you to watch it. All of a sudden, you will find it is like an explosion, and they will find their hold upon mankind forever released. That is why Beloved Saint Germain has brought forth this I am activity, and why we are making this tremendous effort to assist mankind. It is to give the people the conscious understanding of the laws which are acting about them, so they may free themselves from this condition of fear and doubt, which bind them to all kinds of destructive feeling. I say to you as students, you have been affected here quite the same as other places in the United States, by vicious false gossip concerning the reality of this work, and concerning the messengers, but if you listen to it, you are the ones who are deprived. Because some vicious individual spreads false gossip, it does not mean that it is true, but if mankind accepts it, then the people are deprived. The messengers will go on doing their work, because it is real. It is true. It is mighty, but the individuals who allow themselves to be affected by vicious things are the ones who are the losers. We cannot say to individuals, you shall accept this wondrous understanding. Get it clearly, dear ones. During this class, let our light anchor you so firmly, that not a thing in your world can affect you discordantly. You should know that forever. Bear in mind, this is not the messenger talking to you, but the one who has come to be known as the great divine director. I am that cosmic being, who is flashing these words before him. Now hold that in mind. I am the one who is authority for the law of life, and if you will understand it, you will see I speak with authority. With the obedience of mankind to the slightest request, which we ask, you will have your freedom. Without obedience, we cannot give you the assistance required. The rebellion in a few of mankind, when I sanctioned the group outline, showed they did not understand the need of the people or the mass of the students. The need of the protection for America was the reason. Do you think, beloved ones, I would attempt to influence you, or attempt to govern you, when I know as no other being does, what your free will means? Therefore, it is with the greatest loving kindness we present these laws for mankind's use. They are here for your blessing. There is not one thing of which we talk that is not concerning your life, its law and its action. There is nothing mystical. Dismiss every particle of such nonsense. Your life, the life of the universe of which you are a part, makes it the most practical thing in the whole world and activity of mankind. There is nothing in the physical world today which is as practical as this great activity of the law of your own life, because you are dealing with vibration and substance, and every feeling which goes forth from you is setting a cause into action to produce results for you. That is why we know this. We went through the human experience in gaining our freedom, the same as you are. Knowing your requirements, we have so kindly offered our assistance, but if mankind says we do not exist, it is the messenger's own activity which is giving this forth, then you have lost to a large extent the blessing of our vibratory action, with which we release you through your call from all limitations. In my privilege to assist the number who have been released so far, could you see this moment, the release from the inner standpoint for these individuals, your joy would be boundless forever. Just because you have not seen some miraculous outpicturing through and from those individuals, is not the slightest reason to think it has not been accomplished. This is why I say to you today, go on, and on, and on, in your application, not worrying, not being definitely concerned about the results. If you do, you are so apt to fix your attention upon the results, instead of the power which produces them. You will see at once it is what mankind has been doing. The people are fixing their attention upon the result out here all the time, instead of its power of release. In this preparation today, for the coming class, there is no one thing in which we rejoice so greatly, as the opportunity to visit the groups, and to those who are present, bring a certain attunement for the greater blessing released in the class work. Did it ever occur to you why these classes became 10-day classes? Why was it not different? Because it represents the balance between the human and the divine. Whatever is more than that, will mean an added power to the accomplishment of balancing for all mankind. You do not know outwardly what it means to hold the balance over the human from the ascended master's octave, for the release of our light into the octave which is a lower vibratory action. We see and know so clearly what that means, how so many have been lifted out of their limitations, and had the complete release from this lower octave, while still moving in it. We know there is no limit to what can be accomplished for the students. Try to realize with me today, aside from yourselves who are students, these mighty decrees going forth in the mental and feeling world of mankind, are reaching thousands and thousands of people who have not yet touched this work. It is acting in their feeling world. The moment the slightest thing comes to call their attention to this mighty presence, their mighty I am, their feeling is prepared and ready to receive it. It is why the transcriptions and the radio broadcasts have done so much for the blessing of mankind, and they are bringing such a tremendous number of people into this understanding. Therefore, remember, in your group work and in your decree work, you are rendering a service indescribable and unparalleled in the history of the earth. If it had not been for that, we could not have hoped to have saved humanity from the condition which threatens the entire world. I said mankind might, one day, be surprised at another transformation which would take place in Russia. I still maintain it. The change in the feeling world of those people may bring a great transformation there, and we are pouring the light forth for it. The destructive element in that great country is fast losing its power. It is why recently, we asked the students everywhere to give their assistance to Europe and the Orient. We are trying an experiment, and so far it is beyond our expectations. As we have found ourselves reaching a certain point of safety in America, we have been utilizing some of this power, released from, let me call them, the great American people, because they are. Who on earth is so great as those who give forth their life energy, so we may utilize it to bless mankind and the world? Should our experiment succeed, you will see a transformation in Europe which will be the greatest miracle you ever witnessed. We cannot yet tell you the outcome, for we cannot depend upon Europe, as we do upon the students of America, today. Let me call your attention to something you might have heard, some of you. Beloved Saint Germain performed this tremendous service. When it was planned to send a secret fleet of airplanes with their destructive power at night over America, to spread devastation, he prevented that plan's success. 5 times, he intercepted the messenger, who tried to carry it out. At last, he compelled their destruction back into the messenger in order to prevent it. Then, he went to the instigator, who is at the head of a great army, made himself visible to him, and said to him, "If you try this again, I will destroy every plane and all that is in them, and then if you persist, I will destroy your entire army, and if you think I cannot do it, try me out." It is what comes from the activity of the great cosmic light, which on the 7th day of the Shrine class, made it possible for the viciousness of individuals to be returned upon their creators. There is no wrong in doing that. There is no viciousness about it. Get this clear in your minds, because if you don't, you will find yourselves meeting obstruction. The world today is under the pressure of vicious destructive human qualities. All mankind is to some degree responsible for it, but those who have utilized the destructive force to get the governing power over mankind, to compel the people to be subservient, will find themselves meeting their own creation. When they are compelled to look upon it, they will see their own destruction. This is not a matter of my opinion, your opinion, nor anyone's opinion. It is the law of life, which is the law of cause and effect, and when the cause of destructive qualities comes to a certain point of action, the reverse of that action takes place. Not all human beings on earth nor ourselves can prevent it, because it is the creation of mankind returned upon its creator. Now you will see how great is your privilege in the use of the violet consuming flame, and the understanding of the power of your presence, which is life, to draw about you the tube of light, which is your protection. The power of the violet consuming flame dissolves and consumes your own individual creation, so you may not look upon it. You no longer feel its effects. You cannot imagine even in your fondest imagination what that means to you. Utilize this power, beloved students, and call your presence into action as never before, to use the violet consuming flame through your physical body, your mental and feeling world with dynamic power. Already you have consumed the larger percent, all earnest sincere students, have consumed the larger percent of their own accumulation, but there are some who are trying to do this with their intellects. They are not producing the results in their feeling world. I say to you today, be sure your feeling is following the activity of your attention. Then, what do I mean by that in regard to the violet consuming flame? If you say just from your neck up, mighty I am presence. Dissolve and consume all my discordant accumulation by the power of the violet consuming flame, a slight result is produced, but if you are aware, your feeling is sustaining your call, then you will find results which are astonishing take place in your life. Watch your feeling follows your call or the power of your attention in everything you do. Whether it be in your outer business or what it is, makes no difference, the same law is acting, whether it is for your own purification or your business. As you understand this, you will compel your feeling to arise as it were, and go forth on the power of your attention. That is the power of accomplishment. You have heard us say mankind in the past has used only one of the trinity of action, sometimes power, sometimes divine love, sometimes wisdom, but just one in itself is not sufficient in the world today. Divine love is not sufficient, because it lacks the discrimination, which is within wisdom, and on the other hand, if power is not acting, the force of action is lacking, to produce quick results. Today, in order to relieve mankind from the mistakes of the past, beloved Saint Germain brought forth this understanding and the eye picture before you of your own God presence, which compels love, wisdom and power to act in perfect balance at your call to the I Am presence. You will see then how constant, how definite it has made the balanced action of life in you and your world. Without it, you only have partial results, because one element has been missing, sometimes two, but today in the call to your presence, there cannot be anything lacking or missing in the total result, and the completeness of it which you require. As you understand this, you will see how self-evident it is, and with that will come an ease, rest and confidence in your feeling, which never was there before. This is what your feeling needs. It has been so accustomed to agitation, worry, disturbance, doubts and fear. Oh yes, disturbed feeling has been acting 1,000 times, when you did not even imagine it. That is the worst part of it. If you were only aware of all these things, you could stop them, but if you are unaware of them, how can you stop them or have any effect upon them? In the great understanding of this law of the I Am presence, again you have the same trinity of action through your physical form, which is called forth from your presence, and again it is the balancing activity. You have your vision, your attention, and your power of qualification, acting within the human form and feeling world. It again is the balance, cooperating perfectly with the call to the presence, which is love, wisdom, and power in action. Dear ones, if you were to see in the past, how your power of qualification has been acting and clothing your energy, producing just the opposite results from which you intend, you would be so astonished. No words could explain. Today, that is fast being remedied, and as we watch the activity within the life streams of individuals who are earnest, sincere students, we see the constant change. In 80%, notice how tremendous, in 80%, the results are tremendous. I touch upon this point to give you the strength and encouragement to know you are not failing in your application, not even the one who is producing the least results. Please feel this, for who of you shall say what moment you will strike a certain vibratory action? The power of your presence releases in one tremendous sweep, and brings you to the point of balance, wherein comes the great release from your presence, governing all activities in your world. Sometimes individuals have thought in the magazine there were contradictions of that which is in the books. It is not so. Dear ones, the books give the fundamental law of life. In the magazine, different angles of that law are touched upon, and if there seems to be a contradiction, remember it is only referring to another activity, another explanation of the same mighty thing. So do not let your human mind begin to feel there are contradictions in this activity. It is impossible in the Ascended Master's work. So if there seems to be, it is just a lack of discrimination within the human intellect, which makes you feel it for the moment, because of the suggestion which is given forth. There are a few unfortunate individuals who have spread the falsehood. The Ascended Masters had made mistakes, the messengers had made mistakes, and in beloved Saint Germain's dismissal of certain individuals, said, could an Ascended Master have written those words? Well, they just did. Because it was imperative to place that human viciousness where it could no longer misrepresent the truth, in the pretense of representing this law. Every individual who condemns the messengers and this work, will find himself or herself out of the radiance of the Ascended Masters. Not only that, but those individuals say, I still have my presence. I wonder. Do they? They still have their presence attached to their physical hearts, but they do not stop to see their viciousness released toward persons, places and conditions, clothes every ounce of the energy which goes into their beings with destructive qualities. Therefore, they have shut off the perfection of their own presence, from acting in their worlds. Do you not see this, beloved ones? It does not make any difference what the provocation is, not only the messengers and this activity, but whoever once has known this law and then allows viciousness or discord to control, is creating that one's own destruction, and if you will watch, you will see it done. There is nothing can stop it but themselves. We plead with the people and give them the correct understanding of the law. Many still go on believing they can send forth any feeling they choose and not reap the results. Such a thing is impossible. I am not condemning those unfortunate individuals, but I am citing the law which acts. The law of life is no respecter of persons. It is cause sent forth, which produces effect, and that is all there is to it. It is the law of life acting, and nothing but themselves can change it, as long as they hold to such a vicious attitude. Therefore, I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, in your activity of the outer world, if somebody has done a wrong to you, please do not let yourselves become angry or feel vicious toward that one, because then you are harming yourselves. They cannot harm you. Suppose one swept away from you all the money you had, do you think for one moment that can interfere with your great life acting to again produce more, if you hold your feeling harmonious, and pour forth kindness and blessing to that unfortunate individual? The one depriving you temporarily is the one who is most unfortunate, not you. If only blessed mankind could understand this. In the experience of the Depression a few short years ago, what a release would have come. How those within the next 5 years following would have restored all their loss, if they had known this I am presence, and how to call it into action. Because the same power and intelligence is there in the individual, which was there before the loss, so-called, took place. If you and mankind will understand these laws and utilize them, there is not a thing acting in this world which can harm or deprive you. That is why I say today, according to the great cosmic law, there is no one in the world who has wealth, who is sure of sustaining it, without the knowledge of this presence. The very forces of human destructive creation are pounding at these individuals to try and deprive them. Every one of mankind who will hold himself or herself harmonious, accept the I am presence as the treasure house, refuse to be agitated or disturbed by the appearance of the outer world, will find his or her own individual world supplied abundantly with every good thing. Allow me to cite you to the messengers. My dear people, they are the greatest living example of this law in the world. They started out in Chicago without money, except enough to get to Philadelphia, trusting the presence. Not only trusting, but calling it into action with the most dynamic power you ever witnessed. See what has been done in 3.5 years, unparalleled in the history of the earth by two people, without one word of advertising to the outside world. They proved the law absolutely in their financial supply in the call to the presence, to bring to them the people who could accept this law and have this freedom, and to keep out all others. Therefore, one has but to look at the action of the law and see there its fulfillment without question. That is why I cite these things to you, so you may see they have been the fulfillment of the law and are today. Never was such viciousness driven at any two human beings on earth as has been at them. Why? Because the destructive qualities of mankind know this light is their annulment, no, it is the freedom of all mankind. That is the only reason. Individuals allow themselves to be made claws of the destructive force, to try to interfere with this activity, but they have no power to do it. As you understand these laws, when disturbing conditions confront you, your attitude should be your call to the light, so far as your own protection and the harmonizing of your world is concerned. Then the full result and power of your presence may come forth. I tell you, dear ones, it is not a matter of persons, places, nor conditions. It is a matter of the harmony in your own feeling, which allows the power of the presence to flow forth and produce these natural conditions for you. It will do it every time. There is no such thing as failure in this light, because it is light which goes into action and knows no resistance. Even the destructive quality of mankind never attempts to interfere with the light, because it knows it cannot do it. As you look upon it as self-luminous intelligent substance, you know your call is compelled to be answered, by the very light which beats your heart and gives you activity. Today, people have within their grasp the scepter of their own freedom and dominion over the conditions of earth. Believe me, dear hearts, when I say there is not one of you who cannot stand in the midst of everything, I mean in the power of your presence, and remain untouched by the disturbance around you. Go on, and on, and on, into the perfection and freedom which your heart knows is true and which you crave and want. At first, when you enter this great stream of light, it means a great firm determined stand to the light, and the refusal to accept the gossip of mankind from those who do not understand. Therefore, all who are strong enough to do that, will go forward, on, and on, and on. You as individuals who are not group leaders, have only to be concerned about your own individual world, aside from your decrees for the blessing of America, but the messengers have been the focus of all the viciousness of mankind, and they have remained untouched by it. They always will, but it is because of their dynamic application, and they still do it and will as long as they are serving in the outer world. It is imperative. Until individuals have made their ascension. You cannot be free, without your own dynamic application, because you are moving in the seething vortex of human discordant creation all the time. I thank you with all my heart for your attention, and for that which has been anchored within your feeling world to bless you. Oh, it is not just the words which I have spoken, they but hold your attention, while into your feeling world is the power of light anchored to bless you forever. It is our great victory for your assistance. In these wondrous groups it is the response, which makes it possible for us to anchor our power of light into your feeling world, which not only dissolves and purifies, but gives you a strength and courage which sets you free, if you but realize it. Things which bothered and disturbed you before will never do it after today, if you will just keep yourself reminded of this. Oh, I want you to know so much, how really free you are. I trust for those who attend this class, before the 10 days are past, it will be my joy to dissolve and consume the human accumulation of 90% of all who are present. You may be sure, beloved ones, to the limit the great law of life permits, will this be done, not only for your freedom, but the greater assistance you may give, for the blessing of mankind and the protection of America. We have watched the individuals for whom this has been done. The release of their energy, their substance for use has in most instances been 10 times that which was released before it was done. So you know what it means in your own individual lives, as well as the assistance for America. Today, our rejoicing is very great. If you only knew what the freedom of your America means to you, and how those vicious claws have tried to enter into your government. They have tried to enter into your industries, tried to prevent your aerial service, trying to cripple your beloved America, and this excess taxation tries to enslave you, which is always the signal for the final enslavement of all mankind. Oh, dear people, it is quite different this time than ever before, for when the flood of cosmic light strikes the mass of the people, then courage goes forth, and they arise and annihilate their own would-be destroyers. That is not sufficient. Take Russia today for instance. One man has been traded for another continuously, since the Tsar was disposed of. Just changing one effect for another. That is not sufficient, but from the heart of those people, there must arise a mighty sincere honest individual, whom the people will at once see as their friend, and then would come the solution of the same problem in every country in the world. Treachery and deceit in high places has brought the distrust of the mass of mankind, and they do not know upon whom they can depend. But as the cosmic light increases its intensification in the earth, we are trying to so adjust it, there will be raised up in those countries, individuals of power, which will call forth the power of light to sustain them in their honesty, honor, integrity and blessing to their fellow man. It is the only hope. We hope they will reach a great fruition, and possibly as we find progress, we may ask the students of the United States to add a special decree for this. You have been using the decree that ascended master friends be raised up everywhere, a most magnificent thing, but now decree a great honest, honorable individual whose light is strong enough, be raised up in every country in Europe, and the confidence of the people rest there. So the power of light's constructive activity takes its dominion. One more thing I want to say to you. You may not comprehend it, but at least in your attention, you can and contemplate it, if you will. Beginning in this class, there will go forth a power of radiation to Russia and her people, to try to bring the vast remedy which is needed. Should this become victorious, then you can feel a gratitude and service rendered which will be beyond all words to describe. Remember, the beginning of this destructive element was in Russia, in connection with the 3 individuals in New York, who started this frightful destruction to mankind and the earth. Once not so long ago, we thought there seemed to be no hope to bring this transformation into Russia, but recent evidence there has given us renewed hope, so we will do our utmost to pour forth a radiation to the mass of her people, to do what we could scarcely hope for a short time ago. You are not only solving your own problems and holding America's protection, but see how it is reaching into the whole earth. It seems so fragmentary to you, I know, but in every country in the world, there are groups of students, some places small, but enough so we may focus this mighty power of light at those points. In South Africa, whereas Washington's vision has shown, was to arise that great cloud to submerge America, there has been drawn and established a mighty sincere group of I am students. It is magnificent. Shall I tell you what they said concerning some destructive literature which went even to Africa? You know how the sinister thing tries to do such things, tries to spread its destruction everywhere. When its destructive literature reached those students, momentarily they were shocked. Then they gathered themselves together and said, well, if those messengers are good enough for the ascended masters, then they are good enough for us, and they dispelled the whole thing at once. That was magnificent, and what a great truth they uttered. Therefore, beloved ones, you see how these destructive elements have no power, if there is only a nucleus for this anchor of the light within a place or locality. In the various countries of Europe, wonderful sincere groups of students are applying these decrees with dynamic power, and we shall give them more than ordinary assistance, you can be sure. I want you to know how great is your blessing and privilege. This light, your I am presence, your life, is the freedom of yourself and the world. So let us enter in with renewed enthusiasm, joy and energy into your decree work, for it releases the substance required. You cannot help but know, as you render this service to America and mankind, it would be impossible for you not to have your own freedom. Just one more word concerning your finances. Dear hearts, please accept this and feel it with all the power of your being. There is not one of you here, or among the I am students, who is earnest and sincere, who could not before retiring, stand and raise your hands to the presence something like this and then say, mighty I am presence. I refuse acceptance of any financial limitation any longer. I positively refuse it. Take command of me and my feeling world. Release through your power of divine love, the supply of money I require now. There is not one of you who could not have it released in 48 hours, if you would only realize it. Try to feel that, with renewed enthusiasm and a tremendous release of energy. It will bring about your freedom in this respect, so it gives you rest and peace in your feeling, that your application does tremendously more in all you require. I am determined, if you will allow me, to assist every sincere, I am, student in America to be free from all feeling of financial limitation. Such a thing is not possible in the understanding of your I am presence. If there has been a great momentum built by the human sense of limitation, then call your presence to dissolve and consume every vestige of it in your feeling world, because your feeling world is your powerhouse, and there is where the things act. There cannot one thing outpicture in your physical body which does not have its cause in your feeling world, and just remember that. I call into action today, the mighty love, wisdom and power of your mighty I am presence, to take command of your mind, body, your feeling and your world of activity, produce its perfection and hold its dominion, and bring to everyone his or her complete financial release from all limitations. Take out of each one's feeling world every feeling which has accepted financial limitation because of the appearance world. Set all free, great presence of life, and give them such courage and strength, joy and enthusiasm in their application. The results become so instantaneous that all doubts and fears vanish from their world forever. In the power of our great light, Goddess of liberty, victory and Goddess of light. In thy trinity of action, clothe these beloved ones in thy garments of light, which hold thy radiance in constant action about them. Fill and charge their worlds with thy dynamic action of courage, strength and victory of the light. I thank you.